All right, children, this is your second experiment to prove that transpiration is the evaporative loss of water and water is released in the form of water vapors. Again, a very important experiment, so please take care of it. These three bell jars. Now, these glass jars are known as bell jars, right? We have made three setups here, and the hero of the experiment is the cobalt chloride paper. Now this is something which is initially of blue color, the way I have shaded it here. Cobalt chloride paper has a natural shade of blue, but when it comes in contact with moisture, it turns pink. Now, please, get embossed this statement in your mind that cobalt chloride paper is initially blue in color, and when it comes in contact with the moisture, it turns blue. It turns pink, right? Initially, it is blue, and when it comes in contact with moisture, it turns pink. Three setups here: setup A, setup B, and setup C. Right, now what are we doing? The first setup here, the pot is covered and the droplets condense. Two things that you can see here: why we have covered the pot and we have excluded that chute to be free, so that the answer would again be same, so that there is no evaporative loss of water from the soil surface, which mixes up with the condensed droplets, which are the result of transpiration. So keep that in mind, that whenever we are covering the pot, or we are just trying to isolate shoot and the pot, that means we are not wanting that wet soil to come in contact with or to interfere with the results of transpiration. So the water which is present in soil will not be able to come out and condense here. So whatever result you see here is totally the result of water transpired by the plant only. Right, this is setup A. Now setup B, the same setup as A, but the addition is we used a stick or anything where you can clip on a cobalt chloride paper, right? So setup B has the chute is again excluded, the pot is covered so that the soil water doesn't interfere, right? You keep it in sun. After some time, the droplets would be deposited on the inner surface. Why? Because the water was released in the form of vapors as a result of transpiration, and these vapors, when they got saturated in the bell jar, they condensed on the inner wall of the bell jar, and that's the only source of moisture, because soil you have already covered. It is not a source for moisture at all. When this area is saturated with moisture, you see the condensation of droplets. That's something which is similar as A, but additionally you have provided another proof. You kept a cobalt chloride paper inside, which was initially of blue color, but since it came in contact with the moisture, so in that case it will react with the moisture and it will turn out to be pink. This is something where students get confused, so must understand initially the color of paper is blue and it turns pink. Right, children? So to prove the first one showing condensation as the previous experiment, the second one showing cobalt chloride reaction with the moisture. Here comes the third one. I have written here control with a different color so that you understand. Sometimes it is asked in the figure based questions, what could be a control setup for this experiment? This is one question, right? And another thing that is asked here, what is setup C meant for? They will not write here control, they will just exclude everything, and they'll ask you why setup C has been placed here. you will say that it will be acting as a control setup. What is a control setup? Control setup is something which misses the key ingredient of the experiment, right? So that you can compare the results of the two. Here the key ingredient was this plant, which was transpiring water. Here it was plant again, which was transpiring water. We were trying to prove every time that it's the plant only that loses water, and there's nothing else that has changed the color of this cobalt chloride paper. Here also we will be keeping the cobalt chloride paper, but the plant is missing. We will not keep a plant here. You keep this paper in under the bell jar in sun for whatever time you need, but this paper is not going to change the color. Why? Because moisture, there is no additional source of moisture in this setup, so that the color could be changed due to reaction. You may question that there could be few molecules of water, while placing the bell jar, which will be present inside, but this much of molecule intensity is not enough to change the color of the paper. So must understand that this is a setup, this is a second setup, which is going to prove that transpiration is the evaporative loss of water from the aerial parts of the plant, like stem and leaves. I hope we have discussed the things clearly, and I'll be sending you a worksheet based on these experiments. If you find these questions, you can also do one thing, children. You can practice your textbook questions side by side, and if you don't get any answer, please feel free to ask me, because one of our purpose is to solve out your exercises too. I don't have a book at home, so I am not able to discuss those questions, but you do have it, right? So you can at least solve out those questions, at least the objective ones, so that we can solve out those questions simultaneously. All right, children? So just go through all these videos clearly and try to solve out the questions based on this content. Thank you.